not only on the accomplishment of tasks, but also on the use of green technology in the learning process, will do a lot of help and encouragement to the persons concerned. School heads should provide new concepts and ideas about eco-friendly teaching and learning. And the last, government intervention. LGUs provide the greatest impetus in the use of green technology by means of local ordinance and other school interventions to promote a healthy environment and enhance the well-being of learners. Examples are the no to plastic policy, zero waste practices in schools, and provisions for instructional aids that promote green education. Fellow educators and all attendees of this webinar all over the world, those are some significant areas which I hope could help you in the battleground of learning amidst COVID-19. Before I end this talk, may I remind everyone here that today's schools are your homes, that learning outside your classrooms is still learning at its best. It is still education, maybe not what you expect, but it is worth the sacrifice of all concerned. Thus, we should exert as much effort as we had done during those non-COVID years to consummate the goals of learning. Battle with COVID-19 like a warrior, but also live with green education technology like a real pro. Thank you and God bless. The well-respected President of Guimaras State College, the Vice President.
Thank you, Dr. Cantos. Keep safe as well. Yes, that's really important. We can still keep on learning even if we are not inside the classroom. And that's the only thing that we can use is the green technology education. We're down right now to our different research presenters. The first one is going to talk about the latest strategies and interactive approaches, especially for students on how to be interested in studying mathematics. Here's our first research presenter from Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College, Concepcion, Iloilo, Philippines. We have Marilyn Linas Laguda.
This international virtual research conference on green technology education provides an opportunity for me to present my first ever published research in a Scopus journal. I am Dr. Marilyn Linas Laguda of NEPC Concepcion Campus, an Associate Professor 5 and designated an Associate Director for Research and Development Services for 9 years. My study entitled Doing Math and Other Things, a peek at multiple intelligences and numeracy level was made in order to support the research output of our School of Education, particularly Mathematics Department where I belong. The map of Concepcion shows the location of my study. As to the rationale, it evolves in these two concepts: the theory of multiple intelligences and multiple intelligences in mathematics. Theory of MI, the general notion of intelligence is IQ, but this is a limited concept because intelligence was defined by Garner as the ability to solve problems or to create products that are valued within one or more culture. From then on, the understanding of intelligence revolutionized. Thus, the concept of MI is the trend in early 2000. Mathematics is best taught in individualized instruction. However, this suggestion is often neglected because one of Gardner's 9 multiple intelligences is the logical mathematical intelligence about one's ability is to solve and analyze logical and mathematical operations. This process involves formal and informal reasoning. The human intelligence is composed of numerous types such as verbal and linguistic intelligence, mathematical logical intelligence, musical intelligence, visual spatial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, natural intelligence, and existentialist intelligence. Mathematics is best taught in individualized instruction. However, this suggestion is often neglected. The framework depicts the objectives sought in this study, such as to determine the level of multiple intelligence and mathematics performance of the respondents, to test the difference of MI and mathematics performance as two categories, and to test the relationships between the MI and mathematics performance of the respondents. The framework shows the antecedents variable, the independent variable, and the dependent variables. Research design. The descriptive correlational design is employed to identify the level of multiple intelligences and mathematics performance as determinants of the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in mathematics in the 4 campuses of Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College. As to the locale, there were 4 campuses involved, namely Ahoy, Barotac Viejo, Concepcion, and main campus, Estancia. The profile of the respondents depicts as to the sex, such as male and female, and as to school campus, Ahoy, Concepcion, Barotac Viejo, and main campus, Estancia. For the research instrument, the research tool employed in identifying the level of multiple intelligences of the respondents was patterned after the questionnaire made by Dr. Terry Armstrong, as suggested in the Book of Corpus and Zalandanan 2013. To measure the level of MI and mathematics performance, frequency count, percentages, mean averages, and standard deviations were employed. To measure the test of difference, ANOVA was utilized, and to test the relationships, chi-square and person R were employed. As to the level of multiple intelligences of the respondents, results revealed a high level of existential intelligence of the respondents, with a mean of 4.41 being the highest. For existential intelligence, the most commonly stated professions are consultant, college professor, teacher, and philosopher, according to Moran, Kornberg, and Gardner, 2006. Mathematics performance of the respondents revealed that majority of respondents obtained a score below median. Likewise, 19 obtained the score that falls between 14 and below, which was described failed. This means that these 19 respondents who got a failing score underwent the so-called bridging upon enrollment as to schedule with the management prior to attending regular classes. As to the test of multiple intelligences, which is MI, existentialist, when they were categorized as to campus, results revealed not significant. This means that the computed F value is not significant to determine the differences of existentialist intelligence between the 4 campuses, although the respective means ranges between 3.86 to 4.31 varies from each other. As to the test of multiple intelligences, again, when they were categorized as to campus, F-test is significant. As to post hoc analysis, Ahoy campus identifies the significant differences because it showed the lowest score for mathematics performance as compared with the mean scores of Barotac Viejo campus being the highest, followed by Concepcion campus the second highest, and Estancia as the third when mathematics performance is concerned. Then, for the test of relationship between the mathematics performance and MI, results showed that as to mathematics performance and linguistic, there is an inverse low degree of correlation, and it is significant. This means that the respondents possess such linguistic intelligence that can motivate them to read, analyze, and comprehend verbal instructions in solving mathematics problems, whether expressed in symbols or in words. As to the findings, more females enrolled in the programs than males in the academic year 2015 to 2016. Most of the students were from different barangays in northern Iloilo. Out of the 9 MI or multiple intelligences, most of the students possessed existentialist intelligence because all of them wanted to become teachers in the future. However, the majority of the 68 respondents failed the entrance examination. For the conclusion, if students excelled in mathematics in high school, chances are they too were good in college. Most of the students have linguistic intelligence, and a proposed action plan for a remedial or review class among senior high school students were required. Special thanks to Dr. Fernan Paniero Topas as my best researcher, my best research director for NEPSI, and my best mentor, as well as friendship to many. Thanks for him for the realization of my publication. Also to the NEPSI Concepcion Campus for the financial support in the realization of this paper. Here are my references. That ends my presentation, and happy viewing. Keep safe, everyone.
Thank you very much to our first research presenter who just talked about mathematics and the different variables related. Again, thank you, Dr. Laguna, and also keep safe as well. It's time to move on to the next research presenter. So this is a little twist for all of us. It's going to be in Filipino. We have from Capiz State University, we have Sir Merlito F. Flagney Jr. Good morning, sir.
Po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Merlito Flagney Jr. mula po sa Pamantasang Estado ng Capiz sa Satellite College. Isang karangalan po para sa akin na mabigyan ng pagkakataon na maiharap sa inyo ang aking papel pananaliksik na pinamagatang Edukasyong Kindergarten sa Canloran Distrito ng Tapas sa loobin sa kagamitan pagtuturo at kabisaan ng pagtuturo. Ang K-12 curriculum ng kagawaran ng edukasyon ay naglayon na makabigay ng kalidad na edukasyon sa mga kabataang Pilipino. Ngunit ang masaklap ay ang katotohanan na magpahanggang sa kasalukuyan, maraming mga hamon at problema pa rin ang kinakaharap ng mga kaguruan, lalong-lalo na ang mga kakulangan sa kagamitang pagtuturo na maaring makaapekto sa kanilang pamamaraan ng pagtuturo at siyang maging balakid sa pagkatuto ng mga mag-aaral at kabiguan ng programa. Ang pag-aaral na ito ay naglayo na mabigyan ng kasagutan ng mga sumusunod na katanungan. Una, ano ang antas ng saloobin ng mga guro tungkol sa kanilang mga kagamitang pagtuturo sa kindergarten sa kabuuan at kung pangkatin ayon sa bilang ng taon sa pagtuturo at pinakamataas na karunungang natamo? Pangalawa, may makabuluhang pagkakaiba ba ang saloobin ng mga guro tungkol sa kanilang kagamitang pagtuturo sa kindergarten kung papangkatin ayon sa bilang ng taon sa pagtuturo at pinakamataas na natin sa kabuuan kung ayon sa pamamaraan, kaalamas pa sa arali, pangalawa, at kung papangkatin ayon sa bilang ng taon sa pagtuturo at pinakamataas na karunungang natamo. Pang-apat, may makabuluhang pagkakaiba ba ang kabisaan ng pagtuturo ng mga sa kindergarten batay sa pamamaraan, kaalaman sa paksang aralin, at pangangasiwa sa klasong at pagkatuto at kung papangkatin ayon sa kanilang bilang ng taon sa pagtuturo at pinakamataas na karunungang natamo. At panghuli, makabuluhang pagkakaugnay theory of attitude change ni Dorel at ang pangalawa ay ang theory of instruction ni Brunner. Makikita ang iskema ng pag-aaral na nakadisplay sa screen. Descriptivo correlation ang disenyo ng pananaliksik na kung saan ginamit ang isang modified na standardisadong talatanungan upang makalap ang mga datos. Purposive summary ang ginamit para sa pagkuha ng mga taga-tugon na kung saan hiningi ang mga karampatang datos bago ibinigay ang mga talatanungan. Sa pagsukat ng mga datos ay ginamit ang katampatang tuos, man-Whitney, Kruskal-Wallis at Sperman-Rowe gamit ang SPSS. Napag-alaman matapos masuri ang mga datos na ang antas ng saloobin ng mga guro ay lubos ng disang-ayon sa kanilang mga gamitang pagtuturo. Ibig sabihin, kung nangangahulugan lamang ito na ang mga guro alam na alam nila na ang kakulangan Ang kakulangan sa mga kagamitang pagtuturo ay malaki ang magiging epekto o salik dito sa kanilang pagtuturo. Ipinapakita lamang nito na kung saan ang kakulangan ito ay magiging hadlang upang ilubusan nilang maituro at maibigay ang maayos at dekalidad na serbisyo sa kanilang mag-aaral. Napag-alaman din na sa antas ng kabisaan ng pagtuturo kapag ito ay tinukoy sa kabuuan at kapag pinangkat ayon sa mga variable na ginamit, natukoy ng antas ng kabisaan ng pagtuturo ng mga guro ay nasa antas pinakamabisa. Ibig sabihin lamang ay mabisa pa rin nilang na ipapakita na ihatid ang pagtuturo gamit ay yung kanilang resources, gamit yung kanilang pagiging mapamaraan. Alam ng mga guro na kahit anuman yung mabalakid na kanilang kinakarap, hindi ito magiging hadlang upang makabigay sila ng dekalidad at maayos na serbisyo para sa kanilang mga mag-aaral. At napag-alaman ng tinukoy ang makabuluhang pagkakaugnay ng saloobin sa kanilang kagamitang pagtuturo at ang kanilang kabisaan ng pagtuturo ay napag-alaman na wala makabuluhang pagkakaugnay ang saloobin at ang kabisaan ng pagtuturo. Ibig sabihin, sa kabila ng mga hamon, mga problema na kinakarap ng mga guro, sa kabila ng mga kakulangan ng mga kagamitang pagtuturo na kanilang kinakarap sa ngayon, magpahanggang sa kasalukuyan, nandoon pa rin yung kanilang pagmamahal sa pagtuturo. Alam nila na hindi magiging hadlang yung mga kakulangan na iyon upang lubusang maturuan, upang lubusang maihanay, upang lubusang maipatupad yung programa na ipinapatupad ng kagawaran ng edukasyon sa ilalim ng K-12. Malaking hamon man yung kinakarap ng mga guro, ngunit ang napaka masigasig at nandoon na yung pagmamahal sa puso't isip ng mga kaguruan sa kanilang propesyon ng pagtuturo. Kaya naman, matapos masuri at mabigyan ng pagpapakahulugan ang mga datos na nakalap, ang mananaliksik ay nakahinuha ng konklusyon at ito ang mga sumusunod. Una, sa kabila ng maraming kakulangan sa mga kagamitan pagtuturo, nakahanda ang mga guro na punan ang mga ito para maibigay lamang ang dekalidad na serbisyo sa kanilang mga mag-aaral. Ang kanilang pagtutunyagi na makagawa ng mga alternatibong kagamitan pagtuturo ay positibong indikasyon ng kanilang commitment sa pagtuturo. Ang mga guro sa kindergarten ay buong puso ibinibigay ang kakayahan at sarili sa pag-abot ng minimitiin ng programang K-12 ng kagawaran edukasyon. Pangatlo, ang kanilang mabisang pagtuturo ay nagpapakita lamang na tinaguyod ng mga guro ng maayos ang programa. Ito ang siyang magiging susi upang lubusang maitaas ang bumababang kalidad ng edukasyon sa bansa. Magsisilbi rin itong tulay ng epektibong pagkatuto ng mga mag-aaral na siyang kanilang kalasag sa pagharap ng mga hamon sa buhay at maging makatagumpay. Pang-apat, ang mga guro ay ginawang lahat para matagumpay na may patupad ang programa anumang mga hamon ng kanilang kinakaharap. Ang bawat isa ay nagtutulong-tulungan upang matiwasay at epektibong maitaguyod ang pagtuturo sa kindergarten para sa pag-abot ng tagumpay at mithiin sa paghubog ng ika-21 siglong mag-aaral. At ang mga rekomendasyon para sa pananaliksik na ito, una, ang mga guro sa kindergarten ay dapat bigyan ng kaugulang suporta at paggabay para mas lalo nilang maipatupad ang maayos at mabisa ang kanilang pagtuturo. Pangalawa, ang pagkakaroon o pagdalo sa mga seminar o pagsasanay na nakapokus sa paggawa ng mga kagamitang pagtuturo ay makakatulong din sa mga guro para sa paghubog ng kanilang kakayahan at kaalaman, pagkatuto ng mga makabagong estratehiya, pamamaraan at maging sa paggamit ng ICT upang maging mas epektibo ang kanilang pagtuturo. Pangtatlo, panatilihin at pahalagahan ng mga guro ang kanilang maayos at epektibong pagtuturo sa kindergarten, lalong-lalo na ang paggamit ng kinalakhang wika ng mga mag-aaral at itiling sa kanilang puso at isipan ang pagpapahalaga sa wika. Pang-apat, ang Kapsutapa Satellite College bilang isang mas mataas na institusyong pag-edukasyon ay magsagawa ng mga extension activities gaya ng pagsagawa ng mga training sa mga guro sa kindergarten sa paggawa ng kanilang mga kagamitang pagtuturo tulad ng malaking aklat or big book, maliit na aklat o small book at iba pa. Ang pagkakaroon ng mga training sa mga estudyante na kumukuha ng kursong BEF ay positibong silid upang mahubog ang kanilang kakayahan. At paghuli, ipinamungkahi rin sa mga susunod na mananaliksik na magkaroon ng parehong pag-aaral at bigyan ng sapat na panahon upang lalo pang mas mapaunlad at malinang ang programa sa kindergarten ng kagawaran ng edukasyon. Maraming salamat po at narito ang aking mapalakas na mga. Isang mapagpaalang araw po ulit. Ako sa ating lahat, ako po si Milito.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Flagne, for sharing yung mga necessary tips, especially sa pagtuturo ng mga kabataan sa preschool. Now, it's time to move on to our next research presenter. When El Nino strikes, one of the groups that is highly affected, especially the farmer. She's going to talk about sustainable agricultural knowledge. Here is from West Visayas State University, Kalinog campus, we have Mom Jessela M. Galieron, our next presenter.
Hey everyone, my name is Jessela M. Galieron. I'm affiliated with West Visayas State University, Kalinog campus. Today, I'm presenting to you my research about sustainable agriculture, knowledge and behavior of small-scale farmers in relation to El Nino phenomenon. The research objective is assessment of level differences and relationship of sustainable agriculture, knowledge and behavior of small-scale farmers in relation to El Nino. The 2016-2017 El Nino is one of the strongest El Nino events in Philippines. Panay is heavily affected, and to think that most of the areas are crop farms, it is prone to agricultural drought. El Nino affects crop production, and estimated crop damages are substantial. Tons of rice, corn, cassava, and other high-value crops are heavily damaged, amounting to $325 million worth of total production loss. According to United Nations, there is a need for adaptation that focus on sustainable agriculture to support long-term development action for food security, safeguarding livelihoods of small-scale farmers. In the study of Asman and colleagues on 2013, farmers within municipalities should be encouraged to employ and develop sustainable agriculture to manage crop cultivation during El Nino years. As reflected by the paradigm, the problem sought the level of knowledge and behavior when taken as a group and when classified according to independent variables. Moreover, this sought to find if there are significant differences in the knowledge and behavior among the respondents, as well as if there is significant relationship between knowledge and behavior. Methodology of the study. This study used the descriptive correlational research method. Farmers taken as respondents of this study were crop farmers and farmed during the 2016-2017 El Nino who owns 3 to 4 hectares of crop farms. Research instruments were knowledge questionnaire and behavior questionnaire. Statistical treatments were mean, standard deviations, Mann-Whitney U-test, Kruskal-Wallis H-test, and Spearman's Law. These are the selected results with significant implications. It is noteworthy that when classified according to educational attainment, those who are college graduates have level of above average sustainable agriculture knowledge, whereas high school and elementary graduates have excellent sustainable agriculture knowledge. Found between sustainable agriculture knowledge and behavior of small-scale farmers in relation to El Nino. This reflects the study of Wetzel and colleagues on 2014. They found out, despite good scientific knowledge about practices of sustainable agriculture, most of agroecological cropping practices have low integration in the agriculture. Of the foregoing findings, the following conclusions were drawn. The recommendations of the study are the following. 1. education for sustainable agriculture that ensures economic returns to farmers should be embedded on the seminar style in every barangay. Number two, seminars and trainings focusing on sustainable agriculture during El Nino must be held for new farmers or persons who are planning to start their own farms. Three, farmer networking could be facilitated where through the collaboration of agricultural knowledge institutions, farmers and researchers could bring participants to facilitate knowledge and best practices exchanges. The implications of the study are the following. Upon taking consideration the result of this paper, local and national government will be more cognizant that small-scale farmers are most affected by the long drought in terms of loss and to craft well-thought and inclusive policies in its national adaptation plan to assist and initiate programs in supporting their ideas on sustainable agriculture. 2. Philippine Climate Resilience and Sustainability Project could include and implement programs that protects the welfare and provide needed resources for small-scale farmers who venture in sustainable agriculture. Tertiary education institutes with agriculture program could emphasize more the education for sustainable development as adaptation to drought in the curriculum and provide training to enrich the skills of students in sustainable agriculture. This ends my presentation. My gratitude to the organizers and
Thank you very much, Ms. Galiron, for sharing with us the importance of this research. Especially, this is going to be a big help for agricultural part. Today, we're going to have the next speaker. He is going to talk about the importance of physical activities, physical education activities, how it is contextualized and localized. Here is the presenter from Leon, Iloilo. We have Mr. Romel C. Calcenia. Good morning, sir.
A pleasant day to everyone. I'm truly honored and grateful to be one of the presenters for this year's International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology Education. My study is about contextualization and localization of physical education activities and learners' performance. The physical education classes can very well maximize the advantages of utilizing indigenous materials in classroom discussion and activities. Contextualization and localization of physical activities can help develop learners' knowledge, skills, attitude, and values, or also known as KSAVs, by presenting new subject matter in a meaningful and relevant context. I am now showing you the conceptual framework of the study. The independent variable here is the contextualized and localized physical activities, while the dependent variable is the learner's performance. The primary purpose of the study was to determine the learner's performance through contextualization and localization of physical education activities of grade 6 pupils at Leon Central Elementary School, District of Leon 1, Schools Division of Iloilo, Philippines, for the school year 2019 to 2020. The study sought to discern the following objectives. 1. What is the extent of the contextualization and localization of physical activities as perceived by the learners taken as an entire group and when classified according to sex, age, section, and preference in PE strand? 2. what is the level of learners' performance in terms of contextualized and localized physical activities when respondents were taken as an entire group and when classified according to sex, age, section, and preference in PE strand? 3. Is there a significant difference in the extent of the contextualization and localization in physical activities when respondents were classified according to sex, age, section, and preference in PE strand? 4. Is there a significant difference in the learner's performance in terms of contextualized and localized physical activities when respondents were classified according to sex, age, section, and preference in PE strand? And lastly, is there a significant relationship between the learner's performance and extent of contextualization and localization in physical activities? The following hypotheses were formulated. First, there is no significant difference in the extent of the contextualization and localization in physical activities when respondents are classified according to sex, age, section, and preference in PE strand. Next is there is no significant difference in the learner's performance and the extent of the contextualization and localization in physical activities, and there is no significant relationship between the learner's performance and the extent of contextualization and localization in physical activities. The survey-to-relational research method was used in gathering data because this study involved the collections of numerical data based on survey instrument and data from the contextualized and localized physical activities and learners' quarterly grades. The statistical tools that were used in analyzing and interpreting the data were frequency count, mean and standard deviation for descriptive analysis, and t-test analysis of variance or ANOVA, and Pearson R for inferential statistics. The alpha level of significance was set at 0.05. The findings of the study revealed that 1. Generally, both groups of learners have the same perception in terms of the extent of contextualization and localization of physical activities. 2. The level of learners' performance in terms of contextualized and localized physical activities is proficient. 3. There is no significant difference in the extent of contextualization and localization in physical activities. 4. There is a significant difference between the performance of male and female learners. And 5. There is no significant relationship between the learner's performance and the extent of contextualization and localization in physical activities. The following are the conclusions and recommendations. 1. Both male and female learners appreciate the contextualized and localized physical activities. They perceive themselves to be able to make connection with their experiences in school and the real life. It is recommended that the grade 6 students may enhance further their appreciation towards contextualized and localized physical activities by immersing themselves to more varied performance tasks and physical activities in their PE class. Number 2, the learners perform proficiently in contextualized and localized physical activities. It is recommended that these learners may continue to improve their performance in contextualized and localized physical activities by putting importance on determination, self-discovery, collaboration, active involvement, and social awareness. Number 3, the likeness in the extent of contextualization and localization in physical activities manifest that the carefully prepared activities which are given often to the grade 6 learners are effective means for them to perform well in class. It is recommended that the extent of contextualization and localization may be an effective means for the grade 6 students to perform well in their PE class, but it is still recommended that these learners may continue to improve on their working attitude, productivity, and develop the love for culture. Number 4. The difference in the academic performance among the learners is caused by various factors. The male students have less focus and responsibility toward their studies. It is recommended that the teacher may use the motivation approach in teaching, which allows on teaching the students how to improve their academic performance in school. For the school principal, through the help of the teachers, may consider that if a student is not performing well and show little interest in school, it is best to first assess the situation of the learner, determine the possible cause, and act on it right away. And lastly, the academic performance of grade 6 students in PE class is not necessarily influenced by the extent of contextualization and localization in physical activities. It is recommended that the contextualized and localized physical activities should be integrated still in PE classes. The school leaders may encourage their teachers and future researchers to replicate similar studies on contextualization and localization approach to learning to test its effectiveness using a bigger sample or different grade level to validate the result of this study. Before I end this presentation, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the key officials, faculty, and staff of Guimaras State College, most especially to Dr. Rogelio T. Artajo, Dr. Romy B. Moralista, Dr. Early M. Martir, and Dr. Edwin L. Labordo. Likewise to the faculty and staff of Philomer Christian University and Leon Elementary School, District of Leon 1. Thank you very much. God bless and keep safe everyone.
There I have it, guys. Thank you very much, Sir Romel, all the way from Leon, Iloilo, who has just shared something about physical education. Let's have the next one. This is all about our knowledge when it comes to history. How well do you know our past? Our next research presenter from Iloilo City, Philippines, we have Sir Charles F. Isulan.
La muy leal y noble ciudad de Iloilo, the very loyal and noble city hailed by Queen of Spain, Maria Cristina. Hi everyone, good morning. I am Charles F. Isulan. It is my honor to be one of the presenters in this international research conference on green technology education. Way back in history, Iloilo City began its settlement through fishing in early Spanish period. It is a junction over which Malay, Spanish, Chinese, and American cultures met in the course of centuries. According to the folk legend, there were 10 datus purchased the island. Furthermore, the name Iloilo City was derived from Irong-Irong, a reference word to the native Irong, which means nose. Church where became significant as the center for religious gatherings. Halo Cathedral witnessed the baptism of late Graciano Lopez Haina, one among Ilustrados who fought for our independence. Iloilo River symbolized the cradle of development in the city, especially when British Colonel Mullineaux first entered the country after the opening of Suez Canal. Even Plaza Libertad was the place where the last troop of Spaniards surrendered, headed by General Martin Delgado. When you walk a room around in the city, you observe lots of mansions, still showcasing the grandeur and wealth of Ilongos before. Last decade, railroads were still visible in the city, were the first city that trains and railroads implanted outside Manila. Then, even schools built by the Protestants, like the Quezon Hall found at West Visayas State University, stored stories on educational system evolved in the past. The continuity of Iloilo's growth is due to its most notable geographic feature and strategic location as a port with natural harbor. It is bordered by the town of Pabia in the north, Leganes in the east, Oton in the west, and Guimaras Island in the south. The city has a dense urban core and have several plaza and market centers, as the city were divided into 5 major districts. These are Haro, Villa, La Paz, Molo, and City proper. These districts created different fames and names up to the present time. The present may not be the same as the past, but the feeling on how the city progressed through step-by-step innovations, local policies implemented, and the goal to restore history made the researcher to study further. To sum it up, the Iloilo city is known as the City of Love, reflected on the attitude of the Ilonggos, how they live in that values. It was also recognized as the next big thing, when former Mayor Mabilog exerted effort to achieve this recognition, and one of the most livable city in the country as well. It is the home of festival and having many firsts. But one thing to know is that how will millennials restore this history as the years pass? That is why the researcher come up to the title Iloilo City Historical Facts, an Ilonggo learner's knowledge from the past to present. The purpose of the study is to understand the historical and culture concepts, to appreciate more to the local experiences and heritage of Ilonggo, and to develop sense of identity, to improve well-being, and to know as well the national development as it is a vehicle in helping to build national unity and the patriotic fervor. The term Mapinalangaon had made marks to the foreign that had visited Iloilo as well. And the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, or the RA 10533, states that it has helped to integrate local history to localization integration inside the classroom. And the contemporary issues to perceive the potential or existing problems and issues in the society. In which the researcher come up to the state of the problem. 1. What is the Ilonggo learner's extent of knowledge in history of Iloilo when taken as a whole and when grouped according to sex, types of school, and family income? The data source was the survey responses and through the survey questionnaire, camera, and recorder or notes. The same as well, in the question, are there significant differences on the knowledge and history of Iloilo City among Ilonggo learners, grouped according to A, sex, B, type of schools, and C, family income. So the independent variable is the Ilonggo's profile, and the dependent variable is the history of Iloilo City. This study employed descriptive study, and through multi-stage sampling, cluster sampling, stratified proportionate random sampling, and cluster sampling helped the researcher to come up with this instrument or the number of respondents. The learners were the grade 10, or the respondents were the grade 10 Ilonggo learners for the school year 2018-2019. Among the schools of both public and private school in the city, the Fort San Pedro National High School and Haro National High School was chosen for the public school, and the San Yat-sen High School, Iloilo, and University of Iloilo FINMA for the private school. From the total population of 1,361, only 449 respondents were taken through multi-stage sampling. And for the phases of the conducting of the instrument, or conducting of the study. First, the researcher undergone through analysis phase, formulate research questions, sending communications to the schools, and gathering data and to the selected schools. The design phase, Ilonggo history and culture tests and statistical tools were given priority. Development phase, the validation, pilot testing, reliability testing, and statistical tools. And for the implementation phase, conducting of research-made questionnaire, the history test among selected Ilonggo learners. So, for the findings, the table or the graph presented the result after the implementation of the study in both public and private schools. Ilonggo learners were most partly knowledgeable in history of Iloilo. Item number 1 in pre-Spanish period has the highest mean of 2.36 and the standard deviation 1.22. While number 22 has the mean of 1.56 and standard deviation of 0.78, was the lowest mean taken from the topic Spanish period. There were also items that Ilonggo learners were knowledgeable. Item number 11 from the Spanish period contained the highest mean all throughout the result, with a mean of 3.10 and the standard deviation 2.10. Then, Ilonggo learners would like it to increase their knowledge, their family, who acted as the sole source of information. Moreover, news from radio, televisions, and printed materials about Ilonggo history would have contributed to this result. Furthermore, teachers and social media also helped the learner. And the data showed that the Ilonggo learners were observed to be partly knowledgeable with a mean of 1.93 and the standard deviation of 0.52 in history of Iloilo when taken as a whole. And when classified according to sex, both our groups were found to be partly knowledgeable, although male learners were observed to be slightly higher mean with a mean of 1.97 and standard deviation of 0.53 than female learners with a mean of 1.90 and the standard deviation 0.50. Likewise, when they are classified into titled schools, those who are in public school were observed partly knowledgeable with a mean of 1.97 and standard deviation 0.53. The same are those who are in private schools with a mean of 1.85 and standard deviation 0.48. Lastly, when they are classified according to family income, those who are under low income are partly knowledgeable with a mean of 1.92, standard deviation 0.50. Average income are also partly knowledgeable with a mean of 1.92, standard deviation 0.53, and those who are under in high income are still partly knowledgeable. The mean is 1.92, the standard deviation is 0.53. The result shows that the focus of Ilonggo learners is partly knowledgeable in the context of knowing local history. These may not be given emphasis in teaching history in the present curriculum. Furthermore, this condition may be due to the condition that students were not possibly oriented about the local history. To improve the present situation, the idea of Uguzan of 2015, through teaching local history, has chances to increase students' awareness, may be a big help in history, and will make easier connection between history and other disciplines. On the other hand, Walker 2015 recommended the viable including the teaching of local history in the curriculum because having knowledge informs citizens about the political, social, economic, and cultural aspects of their communities. On the other hand, as it was observed that male is higher than female, it may presume that male has a broader knowledge in history compared to female. Typically, both of their interest and learning style somewhat may vary. Fermi in 2017 believed that both types of schools provided greater scopes and creates useful insights about the past. Furthermore, Akteken of 2015 elaborated that local history is a useful vehicle for building partnerships with the local community in which the schools resided. This is to break down the barriers between school and the world outside. Moreover, Farzan of 2013 posited students from families with high income have best performance compared to rest. The statement of Marzano 2010 supported that the academic background knowledge has relation to the status in life. So the table showed that in using t-test computations revealed no significant differences in the extent of knowledge of history in of learners in the history of Iloilo City when they are grouped according to sex. Thus, the null hypothesis, which states that there is no significant difference in learners of knowledge, the history of Iloilo City was accepted. This simply shows that both male and female Ilonggo learners have more or less the same level of knowledge in terms of history of Iloilo City. On the contrary, significant difference was found out on the learners' extent of knowledge on the history of Iloilo City when they are grouped according to type of school. Based on the results, the learners coming from public school having obtained a higher mean than the learners from the private school is an indication that they have a significantly higher level of knowledge of the history of Iloilo City than those from the private school based on the result. Sex was not a factor to create a difference in the knowledge of Iloilo history between male and female. The result was supported by Maki of 2010, saying that the intellects of individuals are not prisoners of its sex, or genders, or genes, and those who claim are merely stereotyping. It is confirmed also by Thanos Cody of 2013 by positing that there are no significant differences among sexes or gender in internet usage among students, specifically in learning history. The results provided significant difference in the type of schools. Frenet and Chan has examined the roles played by student characteristics, schools' resources or availability, and practices for the differences in the academic outcomes of private schools students. However, according to Hayden 2012, some thoughts needs to be given to getting students to understand the ethical and moral disciplines or implications in learning history. In terms of grasping the importance of veracity and chronologically procedure despite of enrolling in two types of schools. So for that conclusion, increasing Ilonggo learners' knowledge in history will be possibly effective through integrating Iloilo history to the present curriculum. Thus, imparting this may help learners to learn local history accordingly. Providing learning resources escalate learners' knowledge and beneficial in facilitating learners to understand historical concepts of Iloilo from different periods. There is no reasons for learners not to learn as Iloilo City is surrounded by historical places and significant events. Learning Ilonggo history is more efficient when localization and indigenization by implementation program of the DepEd are thus. This is contributory to further help Ilonggo learners to be motivated and showing interest on the said discipline. In addition, it may provide opportunities among all Ilonggo learners in enriching learning environment in the process of knowledge sharing. Furthermore, there are no educational activities where learning may take place, such as exposure on historical sites, educational trips, and classroom activities related to it, and fusing technology, strength and knowledge as well. Thank you so much, and mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Sir Charles Isulan, for sharing with us great piece of information related to how important it is acquiring information related to our history. It's time to move on to the next research presenter from West Visayas State University. We have our presenter who's going to talk about rainbow sardines. Here is our next presenter, Bernice P. Maliao.
Good morning or good afternoon to everyone. Today I'm going to present our study, Histological Characterization of Ovarian Development in Rainbow Sardine Dulcimeria acuta from selected marine habitats along Iloilo Strait, Philippines. I'm Bernice Maliao, a faculty from the Department of Biological Sciences of West Visayas State University. Rainbow sardine is a small pelagic fish, widely distributed in the tropical and temperate regions of the Indo-Pacific. It is also caught as a bait fish to lure bigger fishes, as fish meal to be used as animal feed or plant supplement, or its oil is extracted for a variety of uses from varnish to cooking oil. However, overfishing and degradation of coastal habitats have diminished the wild fishery catch for this species. Some aspects of the rainbow sardine biology and fishery have been documented, but few published data exist for this species, particularly on more recent information on reproduction. This is a picture of the rainbow sardines. The scientific name is Dulcimeria acuta. In our dialect, it is called balanchong or tamban in Tagalog. Staging of gonad development is important in reproductive biology studies. Method in use range from histology to visual staging of the external appearance of the gonads. However, the histological method is still considered the most accurate method. This method includes examination of cell based on size, amount and distribution of various cell inclusions. Moreover, chromosomal, nuclear, and cytoplasmic morphologies of gonadal cells are studied. To identify and describe the ovarian maturation stages in the rainbow sardines, and to identify based on the size, amount, and distribution of various cell inclusions using histological samples. This study was carried out to increase baseline information to regulate fishing of rainbow sardines in selected communities for sustainable development, also to support fishery management and conservation of coastal habitats along Iloilo Strait. As for the materials and methods of this study, fresh samples of rainbow sardines were obtained from fish landing areas along coastal towns of Iloilo Strait. Areas were selected as to represent areas where the total distribution of rainbow sardine population are to be found at least for Iloilo Strait. Fish were kept on crushed ice during transport to the laboratory where body and gonad weight were recorded. Gonads were excised, preserved, and processed for histology. Rainbow sardine oocytes were classified into maturation stages as described in the literature. From the histological slides, the diameter of 30 oocytes of each stage were measured with a calibrated micrometer. Oocyte diameter were only measured when the nucleus is visible to indicate that the section was approximately at the center of the oocytes. Results of the study show that rainbow sardines, their ovary comes in pairs characterized by presence of oogonia, oocytes, and surrounding follicle cells. Supporting vascular and nervous tissues are also present. Ovary is connected to the dorsal wall by the mesovarium and is surrounded by tunica albuginea and joined at posterior end by oviduct through the genital pore. Color of the ovary is creamy white when immature and ranges from yellow to orange when mature. 4 oocyte developmental stages corresponding to 4 ovarian stages were established for the rainbow sardines. These are the following: immature ovarian stage characterized by oocytes at the primary growth stage, maturing ovarian stage characterized by oocytes at the secondary growth stage, mature and spent ovarian stages corresponding to mature and post-ovulatory oocyte development stages, respectively. This figure shows an immature ovary of a rainbow sardine characterized by dominance of oocytes in chromatin and perinucleolus of size about 7 to 7 micrometers. This is a maturing ovary of a rainbow sardine characterized by the presence of primary and secondary growth stage oocytes. Recorded average size was about 350 micrometers. This is a mature ovary of rainbow sardine, and at this stage, there are tertiary vitellogenesis and migratory nucleus stages. Average size is approximately 500 micrometers. And this is a spent ovary of rainbow sardine with post-ovulatory follicle of approximately 200 micrometer in size. The histological examination of the rainbow sardine ovary revealed a distinct oocyte development stages similar in most respects with other Teleost species. It is considered heteroporous, meaning that its reproductive output can be spread over several years if adults survive throughout the period, and with oocytes recruited from the reserve pool of younger oocytes. They can spawn many times during a prolonged breeding season, and results of the study also showed that rainbow sardines has grouped synchronous type of ovarian development. In conclusion, rainbow sardine has 4 oocyte development stages, namely primary and secondary growth, mature and post-ovulatory follicle. Likewise, 4 ovarian maturation stages were identified: immature, maturing, mature, and spent stages. It is also observed that they display group synchronous ovarian development with indeterminate fecundity, meaning that the potential annual fecundity is not fixed before the onset of spawning. In rainbow sardine, the eggs can develop at many times during the spawning season. The fish can also spawn all year round. So we would like to extend our gratitude to WVSU University Research and Development Center for the research funding and CFDEC AQD Microtechnique Laboratory for the slide processing. We also would like to thank the BS Biology students who assisted in the preparation of samples for histological processing. I personally would like to thank Dr. Dinusta and Dr. Sabinay for the all-out support in our study. Thank you all very much. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone.
So again, thank you very much. Mom Bernice Marial presenting to us something related to biology. So for this morning, again, we want to say thank you to all our research presenters. Dr. Laguda, we have Sir Merlito Flagnes Jr. Also, we want to say thank you to Mom Galiaron, also Sir Romel Calcenia, Sir Charles Isulan, and of course, the last research presenter, Mom Bernice Marial. Thank you very much for sharing with us things which are really important to learn these days. Now, before we proceed to the next part of the internal research, we have some people to thank to give credits. Take a look at this video. So again, thank you very much to those who have helped in the realization of this international research, our International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology Education. And of course, we want to say thank you to Guimara State College in cooperation with Ayure Learning and Development Center. In a while, we're going to present, or rather award, the different special awards for the Best Paper Award, Best and Abstract, Article Citation Award, and the Best Oral Presenter. So yesterday, we read out the criteria. So let me recap again the criteria for the awarding and recognition. For the Best Paper Award, only those who had submitted their full paper will be qualified for evaluation. Criteria for Best Paper Award will be contribution to new knowledge is 25%, scientific writing 30%, quality of references 20%, grammar and originality that's 15%, 10% for adherence to coherence theme, making a total of 100%. For the Best in Abstract, there are instances that the more than one Best Abstract award will be given out depending on the number of submission and the disciplines. Criteria for a Best Abstract Award will be compliance to word count, that's 15%, abstract content and sequence, that includes title, introduction, objective, methods, results, and conclusions, that's 25%. Grammar and originality, that's 20%. Completeness of keywords, that's 10%. Newness of discovery, results, and conclusion, that's 30%, making a total of 100%. We'll also be having the Article Citation Award, special award given to the researchers who had earned citations on his or her publication. And of course, we'll be also awarding later on the best oral presenter. There will be oral presenter per set of presentations. The criteria for best oral presenter will be content of presentation, that's 30%, methodology, that's 20%, presentation of skills, that's 30%, new discovery results, that's 20%, making a total of 100%. And also, we have other very important announcements. Now, for those who pay the registration fee, please contact your facilitator. For the receipt, it will be sent to you. Your registration fee, that includes your conference kit and certificate. You can look for your facilitator to get the conference kit and the certificate. And to those who are really in need of the conference kit and certificate, all you have to do is you just have to pay 200 pesos for the shipping fee, and this will be sent to you via LBC. So again, you may contact us at our FB account, Opre Press. For the evaluation form for day 3, it's going to be until 4 p.m. So again, those who want to receive their conference kit and certificate, if you're really in a hurry, simply contact us on our Facebook account, Opre Press. And again, you'll be paying 200 pesos for the shipping fee to receive. We'll open the Zoom link for the result in a few minutes while waiting for the answer and the evaluation form. So for the meantime, we have now 256 participants. So it's time to check. How are you doing, guys? Today it's Family Day, it's Sunday, but you are engaging yourself to this International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology Education. So we would like to check a little bit our participants. So participants, please look at the participant chat box. Just raise your hands and we will be getting in touch with you. So just relax. We're gonna have a little chit chat. We wanna check you out, what you have learned and what you're doing for 3 days. So again, participants, feel free to raise your hands and we will be getting in touch with you. Just like this one, raise your hands and our facilitators, our moderators will be getting in touch with you, and I'm going to ask you a few questions as well while we are waiting for the results for the awards and recognition. So let's find out who among these 256 participants. So again, feel free to simply raise your hands, guys. So again, we want to say thank you to all our participants who have been with us since day 1. And we are now on our 3rd day. Thank you very, very much. I'm sure you have learned a lot of things. And again, if you have any questions, simply raise your questions on the chat room or on our Facebook Live. And again, evaluation forms will be until 4 p.m. only for today. So let's check out our 253 participants right now. Again, thank you very much to our attendees, participants for today on the 3rd day Sunday. It's Family Day, and at the same time, they are joining us here. Anybody from our participants, simply raise your hands in our participants chat room, and we will be getting back to you as soon as possible, as soon as you raise your hands. Again, thank you very much, Guimaras State College, in cooperation with Ayuri Learning and Development Center for facilitating this International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology Education. We are still in the pandemic time, but of course, learning will never be stopped. Learning is a kind of journey. We can still learn a lot of things, even we're not inside the classroom, even we're at home. We can still be part of this International Virtual Research Conference. So again, we are inviting our participants to please simply raise your hands while we're waiting for the results. Yes, everything has been very informative. We have learned a lot of insights, a lot of techniques and strategies on educating ourselves in different fields. We have invited and we have heard different presenters who have presented different topics related to science, history, culture, local governance, and the like. Thank you very much for sharing your research results. So again, congratulations to our presenters. Still, we are encouraging everybody to keep themselves safe. And of course, we have to follow still the health protocol wherever you go. Wear a mask or face shield. Always disinfect your hands using alcohol or wash your hands. It's important that we keep ourselves healthy so that we can also keep others healthy around us. The results will be